What is going on YouTube? Joe here with Culination Media, bringing you yet another Pokemon X and Y Wi-Fi battle today. And today's opponent is going to be Adam. And looking at his team, he's got some big-time walls here with Blissey and Gliscor, both covering, the defensive and special side of things. Sableye, it can be a wall, especially with Will-O-Wisp. And otherwise, it's just very, very annoying. And then it looks like Mamoswine is going to be his rock setter, and then he's got some physical attackers and cleaners, per se, in Azumarill and Infernape. On my side, I'm going to be leading off with my Rex, the Tyrantrum. And then I've got Mega-Manectric, Gengar Arcanine, Empoleon, and Ambipom. So, some interesting pokes going on here, not just the usual OU mons that you see all the time. So, it should be an interesting battle. So let's see what happens here. He's going to start off with his Mamachon. I guess that's how you would say that. Interesting nickname. But it looks like both of our rock setters are going to be starting this off. So he's actually going to go for the Earthquake first here. He knows he's going to be faster. And he has a shot at killing me if I'm not holding a Focus Sash. Which I'm not. I'm just holding a Citrus Berry. So good move there. That does a lot of damage. And I'm able to get off the Rock Polish. And that's not really that good. I thought he might switch or just try to put up rocks, and that's a problem because now he's just going to be able to go for the Ice Shard, which is priority. It's super effective, it's stab, and that means no rocks for me. So I had to play the guessing game, I guess. I took a little bit of a risk there, and it did not work out for me, so that sucks. So I'm going to bring in Ambipom here, go for the Fake Out to break his Sash if he has one. I'm thinking he does. And now I'm going to go for the U-turn. So I'm able to get some decent damage off on this thing, and it's going to be below 50% now, which is awesome. I can pretty much kill it off with anything. So I'm going to bring in Shady, and I'm thinking he's going to go for rocks now, or Earthquake. And he decides to go for the Earthquake, which is awesome, because I just levitate right over that. He can get an Ice Shard off, unfortunately, and that does just about like 45 to 50%. But I'm going to be able to kill him off. And, I'll get the Black Sludge recovery, so I'm not too worried about it. The important thing is that Mamoswine is out of the way, no rocks are up, and, that's a plus for me. So, neither of us got rocks up. In comes the Blissey, and Blissey is going to prove to be just incredibly annoying throughout this match. And, well, Blissey's annoying all the time, honestly. Honestly, everyone hates Blissey. So, it goes for the Flamethrower as I go for the Substitute. And I wasn't sure that it was going to be able to break my sub, even if it attacked me. But it turns out that it does. I really thought he was going to go for Thunder Wave there, though. Honestly, I did. So, now I'm going to try to poison it with the Sludge Bomb. And I get a crit, and I poison it. And then I'm thinking to myself, well, it probably has Natural Cure. So, it's just going to switch out after Gengar dies. And so, it goes for another Flamethrower. Gets me down to 20 HP, 28 after the Black Sludge. And there's really not much I can do. I mean, I've got it poisoned, but it would have to stay in the entire time to die. And it's not toxic poisoning, so once it gets to low health, it can just go for the soft-boiled, and yeah, that'll be that. So I decided to go for the Disable there to disable the Flamethrower, and I guess that's good news. She's probably just going to switch now, though, because I'm guessing her other attack is going to be Seismic Toss. That's not going to affect Gengar, so we'll see what happens here. With the poison damage and the leftovers recovery, it's still, only down 25% health, maybe. So I go for another Sludge Bomb thinking she might switch, but it turns out that this Blissey has Light Screen. So now my special attacks are going to be doing even less damage than they already have been doing to this Blissey, which is just bad. I need to get a physical attacker in pretty, safely to be able to kill it, or at least force it out. So with the poison damage, we're down to about 50% HP now, which is great. But I'm quickly noticing that this just isn't going anywhere. He's not going to switch, so I'm going to switch myself into Ambipom, and I end up timing it kind of sort of well because he ends up switching as well. So in comes the Sableye, and I wanted him to switch, but not in the Sableye because that's not a good matchup for my Ambipom, not at all. So I'm going to switch into my Frank now, and I'll get the attack drop, which probably doesn't mean much. I was expecting a Will-O-Wisp there, and he does go for the Will-O-Wisp, so that doesn't really do anything. And I can get a Flare Blitz off, which is great. And that's going to do a lot of damage, and I thought actually it might kill the Sableye, honestly. I really thought it might. But I take a lot of damage from recoil and such, And foul play is going to do a lot because, you know, Arcanine has high attack. So, yeah, it does do a lot, and it takes me almost to a KO there, down to 7 HP. And, of course, he's going to go for the recover on the next turn. I predicted that, so I decided, you know what, I'm going to go for a Morning Sun and at least get half of my HP back. And awesome, you know, the light screen is also down, which is great news because Sableye's special defense is lower. So I'm going to bring in Gengar here. I thought he might try for another recover or something like that. But yeah, that's not the case. He goes for the foul play. That's going to take out Shady, so that's unfortunate. So I'm down 2 Pokemon now. In comes Sparks, and now he's going to switch. He does not want to stay in on Sparks. There's not really much he can do to him. A burn's not really going to affect him too much. So in comes the Blissey, and there's literally nothing that I can do to this Blissey. I can, you know, paralyze it. I'm carrying the Thunder Wave, but that doesn't really do much for me because, you know, it does have Natural Cure. Looking at it, it's not poisoned anymore. Should have expected that. So I do go for the Thunder Wave. I thought he might switch into something else, but I'm just not making good predictions right now, and this isn't looking good for my team at all. I'm just not playing very well. So having this Blissey paralyzed really isn't going to do me any good. It really isn't. So I'm going to go for the Volt Switch. There's no reason for me to stay in here and just basically not do anything. So yeah, and look at that damage. Even without the light screen up, Volt Switch does almost nothing. So in comes Frank. I've got close combat on this thing. So if he, for some strange reason, decides to stay in, I can kill him off with the close combat. So he goes for the Toxic on the Switch, and that is unfortunate. Because now Frank is poisoned, and he already takes a lot of recoil damage from, you know, Flare Blitz and Morning Sun. Not Morning Sun. Morning Sun is my recovery move. Life Orb is what I was trying to say, but I had a brain fart. So he's not stupid enough to stay in with Blissey here. So he's going to switch in his Sableye, and instead of going for the close combat, I decide to go for the Flare Blitz because that'll pretty much safely hit anything. And it turns out that Sableye is actually going to get KO'd from that, and I think I got a high damage roll because it didn't do that much damage last time. So, but I'm happy about that. Sableye out of the way is awesome for me. And with the poison damage and all of that recoil, I'm down to 4 HP, so I have one more turn to do something, except for the fact that the annoying Gliscor is going to come in, and I know how annoying this thing is going to be because, yeah, I've used one a lot, actually, so I know how trollish it really can be. He decides to go for the Protect, I go for the Morning Sun to ensure that I get another turn off, even with the Toxic, you know, poison damage going on. And his Toxic Orb is going to activate, and that's pretty predictable. But either way here, I'm going to go for the Flare Blitz to get some damage off on this thing, and, you know, with all of the recoil, regardless of what move he goes for, I'm going to be KO'd by the poison damage regardless. He decides to go for the Earthquake, I guess just in case I decided to switch into something that it would have to take an attack. Pretty smart move on his part. So yeah, Arcanine goes down, so I'm down to 3 Pokemon now, and that's just not good. Not good at all. I'm going to bring in Empoleon because I have the Ice Beam on this thing. He's going to go for the Protect to get some, you know, more Poison Heal recovery and all that stuff. So I decided to go for the Agility instead of the Ice Beam because that'll make me faster. So as long as he doesn't go for the double Protect, he's going to get hit with the Ice Beam. And I don't know if he thought maybe I didn't have it because I didn't go for it on the first turn, but he's actually going to keep Gliscor in here instead of switching into Blissey or something like that. And the Ice Beam's going to take him out, so I'm not sure why he stayed in, but yeah, Gliscor goes down. So in comes the Infernape, and even at +2 speed, this thing is going to be faster than me, and I really didn't think that was going to be the case. But it is. It goes for the close combat, super effective, and there's no way in the world that Empoleon is going to live that, so ouch. Down goes the Empoleon, 1 hit. That doesn't happen very often. So I'm going to bring in Ambipom next. Go for the Fake Out. That's going to do a lot of damage. And in fact, it almost KOs. 1-hit KO with Fake Out. How funny would that be? That'd be hilarious. So, yeah, now I'm going to switch. And I'm going to get the Intimidate off. Because I'm expecting maybe a Mach Punch to be coming. But he actually is going to switch out here. So that's not a bad move. But he switches out into a Azumarill. And that's great for me. Because even though I don't have the Intimidate off, you know, I have the type advantage. I can kill that thing in 1 hit very easily. So he's going to switch out into Blissey this time. because this thing pretty much just walls my Manectric to no end. No end. So, gonna go for the Volt Switch. There's no reason for me to stay in there against Blissey like usual, so in comes Ambipom. And I know I can be able to kill this thing, yeah, I can speak English. I will be able to kill this thing with some physical attacks, so he can't stay in. He's just basically saving Blissey for my special attackers at this point. So in comes the Azumarill, and I decide to go for the Thief to take whatever item this thing is holding. I was actually trying to take Blissey's leftovers, but I ended up taking a Citrus Berry, and that works fine too, I guess. Now I'm going to go for the U-turn. There's no reason for me to stay in with Ambipom. I pretty much need Ambipom at this point to deal with Blissey. None of my other Pokemon really can handle it. So, in comes Sparks. And yeah, Intimidate, get the lowered attack on Azumarill, and Play Rough's going to be coming. That's going to do a lot of damage, but I survive pretty much thanks to the Intimidate. I don't think I would have survived otherwise. And, yep, in comes the Blissey, and it's just, it can take hits all day from Manectric. All day. Pretty much any special attacker can take hits all day. So I don't even know how many times I've hit it at this point. I don't think it's even used Soft Boiled once. So I figured he might switch into Azumarill here, thinking I might switch. So I went for the Thunder Wave to try to paralyze it on the switch, but it just goes for the Soft Boiled, and that doesn't do anything for me. Because as soon as this Blissey switches out, it's going to get rid of that paralysis condition anyway. So yeah, that's pretty much useless. So I'm going to go for the Volt Switch again, and I mean, this is really, it's coming down to the wire here. I'm pretty sure at this point I'm just down to Ambipom and Manectric, and he still has Infernape left, he still has Blissey left, and he still has Azumarill. So the odds are against me here, especially because Manectric's down to like, what, 30% health? 25% health, something like that, and now Ambipom is toxic. So I'm in trouble. I'm in big time trouble, and it's going to need, I don't know what it's going to need to pull out this one. So he's going to switch out here, and he doesn't want Blissey to take, you know, any physical attacks or anything like that. So in comes the Infernape to take the U-turn, and I don't know if that's going to kill, and no, not even close. It's not very effective, and in fact, I'm pretty sure it's quad resisted. I'm pretty sure fighting resists bug as well, so it does absolutely nothing whatsoever. So in comes Sparks, get the Intimidate off, and if he has Mach Punch, he might be able to kill me. And he's going to try here. Iron Fist, Mach Punch, and I'm going to hang on with 8 HP and kill him off with a Volt Switch. So, thank goodness that I had Intimidate there, and yeah, that was close. And also, thankfully, he didn't get a higher damage roll, too, because that would have been disastrous. So, I'm going to have to bring Ambipom back in now, taking, you know, toxic damage and all that stuff. Manectric cannot take another hit, and he still has Azumarill, and I really need Manectric for this Azumarill, so I'm going to have to fake out here, get as much damage as I can. It does a lot because I get a crit, and at this point, I think that may have actually won me the game. I think I might be able to pull this off now, thanks to that crit. So now I'm going to go for the U-turn. And even if he kills off my Manectric, I don't need Manectric anymore. I can bring Ambipom back out and go for a fake out, which will kill him. And, you know, I think I can survive an Aqua Jet with the Intimidate. So we're going to try. We're going to try. It's a good thing also that he's not holding Choice Band, or I would be screwed. So he goes for the Play Rough. And yeah, that's going to kill off Sparks. So good job, Sparks. You lasted a lot longer than I thought you would, and you took out that Infernape, which was unexpected. So that was just perfect. In comes Ambipom. I'm down to my last Pokemon now, and Fake Out is actually going to take out the Azumarill, which is perfect. Now it's down to one-on-one, and all I need to do is basically just take out this Blissey before it can go for a Soft Boiled and stall me out, you know, with the toxic damage. And it's at pretty much full health, so I'm going to go for the Thief, and that's actually going to kill the Blissey in one hit because of his paper-thin physical defense. So somehow I orchestrate that comeback with just Ambipom and Manectric, and wow, yeah, that was definitely a nerve-wracking match. I remember when I was actually in the middle of this match, I was just going crazy. I really thought I lost. At one point, I almost forfeited, but I was like, you know what, I need to stick with it. and just keep trying, and I guess it worked out this time. It worked out. So my luck turned around. Unfortunately, you know, I feel kind of bad because I basically won off of that crit on a zoom roll, but nonetheless, it was a good win. But that's pretty much it for this time, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Please leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. But until then, game on.